The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. It is at 10 o'clock, Monday, 6th of January, and you're listening to me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock this morning on this absolutely wonderful day. I'm full of positive vibes, and I hope you are as well this morning, even though it's the day that we have nationally. It's called Thank God It's Monday. Yes, thank God it's Monday. Great start to the week, especially for those of you who are going back to school, maybe, and those of you going back to work, because it has been a wonderful break for many of us, getting together with our families and just taking some time off. Now it's kind of getting back into the swing of things, and we are now readily into 2020. So today's day is Thank God It's Monday. How does that make you feel, people? Are you grateful it's Monday? Are you motivated this morning to get back to work or get back on the school run? Now, I had one out of 6 children returning back to school. I was I found it a little bit difficult this morning trying to get myself motivated to get back on the school run. Goodness me, the school run, people. Wow. What the great thing about having children off school is not having to do the school run. You're feeling my vibe, right? So how's it feel getting back into that routine, trying to drop the children off in the morning to school? I mean, the roads are quite clear, so I don't know if all the schools are open, but my children's school wasn't. It was only one child out of the 6 that I had to drop off this morning. We nearly got late as well. It's kind of getting back into that routine of waking up early and getting your body clock into gear as well. Folks, if you've joined in to the show, welcome. Thank you very much for allowing me to keep your company. It is the 6th of January, 2020. Yes, 2020, my first show of 2020, and absolutely delighted to be in your company. Would love to find out where you're listening in from. Are you listening in to me? I hope so. We are beaming out to the wonderful listeners across Luton surrounding areas this morning, as well as Peterborough and Sheffield. Peterborough, it is no other than Salam Radio and Sheffield Link FM. So a massive big hearty salams to everybody tuning in from those wonderful cities, and thank you for joining me on the first Urban Kube of 2020. Now, some of the conversations I'll be having on the show this morning is about how to be the better you. How to be the better you. Now, when many of us will be making some resolutions, New Year's resolutions, and possibly trying to motivating ourselves to be the better version of ourselves. And I'm going to be speaking to the wonderful Shahnaz Ayub, a name that you will be familiar with, and also a face and voice. She has been a wonderful guest on the show, a friend of the show, mashallah, for many a year, and she is a celebrity chef. She is the presenter of the very awesome For the Love of Food. She's also very actively involved in community engagement. She's a very reputable solicitor, as well as the force behind the Women Connecting Women organisation, which we're going to find about a little bit more about the launch. She'll be joining me on the show after 11 to talk about being the better you. What could that possibly mean? Now, it is January, and many people do struggle with something called the January blues. Start of a new year, start of a new chapter. Some people embrace it, others don't. And we're going to find out how we can kind of maybe motivate ourselves to create some change in our life, inshallah, with the wonderful Shahnaz. But she's not the only awesome guest on the show this morning. I'm joined by another fabulous lady who is also a friend of the show, and you may recognize her voice. Not and possibly her name too, because she is a television presenter. She's a producer. She's also a actress, featuring in a very exciting comedy series, which is around Muslim women superheroes. Yeah, you heard that right. Muslim women superheroes. And she's on the show with me this morning. It is no other than the very utterly fabulous Hajra Khan. Assalamu alaikum, Hajra.
Shemiza, great to be on your show again.
Thank you so very much, my darling, for joining me this morning. The first show of 2020. How's that feel, darling?
It's refreshing. Definitely refreshing.
Thank you. And it's an absolute pleasure to have your company this morning. And the company is all the way in London. So you're joining me all the way from London over the phone. Now, have you had the pleasure of the school run this morning, Hajra?
I have, and I also had the pleasure of getting stuck in traffic and the panic of thinking we've got 2 minutes to pull up to the school gate. So yes, I've done what thousands of other mothers and fathers have done around the country this morning. Yeah.
Well done to all the mamas and the papas out there. Well done, you guys. Well done. It's like survival of the fittest, isn't it?
Oh, most definitely. I don't think I've got used to it in all the years that I've been dropping my 3 children to school. It's traumatic every day, I have to say.
That sounded a little bit dramatic there, calling it a bit traumatic. But it is, if you're a parent, trying to not just manage getting your children up, but also getting them in the car. And I've had experiences where there's one child with a missing shoe or a missing bag, and we've had to go back. But hopefully we are going to be a lot more organised for tomorrow. But Hajra, I want to ask you, any tips for any parents who haven't got their children starting school this morning? Because the roads were a little bit quiet, so I don't think all the schools were open this morning. I think there may have been some teacher training day.
Yes, I do believe that outside of London, going further towards Leicester, that school is starting tomorrow. So I think definitely take today and make sure your kids' bags are packed. Everybody knows where their shoes and coats are in the morning. And, get rid of devices before bedtime. That's a big no-no.
Okay.
It really is. In my house, all my kids, unfortunately, have computers and various devices, and I think that's a huge distraction before bedtime, because a good night's sleep is essential to getting up in the morning.
Definitely is, and we're finding that not just children but adults are really, really reducing their sleep time. We're not getting the full 6 or 7 hours of sleep that has been recommended for good, mental health and making sure that we're kind of well rested. Do you get your full hours of sleep, Hajra? Are you somebody that has a strict bedtime routine?
I'm not. I have to admit, I am not. I'm definitely a night owl. And I can say this whole school holidays, I guess it's around 2 weeks, isn't it, that we've had off?
Gosh, gone by so quickly.
It has gone by quickly, but everyone's sleep routine's gone out the window. And I find that when the children go to bed a little bit later, then I go to bed that bit later, because it's my time. And I think probably a lot of parents feel like that, or maybe I'm just bit self-destructive. I like to stay up and do things. It's sort of fitting in a bit of work, or you're catching up on things at home. Or even it's you want to watch your favourite Netflix series, and you find that you've gone over an hour or so when you should have actually been lying in bed.
See, what's interesting for me is 2020. How can I improve my quality time for myself, self-care? Because I don't feel I did so much say 2019, but I want to make more of an effort in doing so in 2020. Any advice and tips, Hajra, you could possibly give me in kind of providing myself a bit more self-care?
I mean, that's a very, very good question. I think a lot of us don't pay attention to ourselves. We're so busy taking care of everyone else, especially women. Well and truly into my 40s. So, a lot of us are looking after elderly parents. We've got maybe a few children. You're trying to hold down a job, and we do forget about ourselves. And I think simple things like starting with your sleep routine, and people might laugh, and it might sound a little bit sort of matronish, but yeah, trying to get yourself into bed before midnight, even if you're not sleeping, is you lie there, meditate, take your mind away from things, and again, emphasis on put the phone down, turn it upside down so you can't see it flashing. Things like taking short walks. I think I'm reliant on my car, and depending on where you live, can you sort of take that 10-minute walk to go to the corner shop and back? Those kind of things get your blood flowing in your body, gets you a little bit more motivated, loosened up, releases certain chemicals. Not all of us are athletes or want to get on a treadmill or go for a 5-mile run. Yeah, but simple things like, taking a walk instead of making a car journey can sort of boost your immune system and your spirit too. And even, little things like, I suppose, making the time to take that shower, that longer shower, maybe before bedtime, or not forgetting to do things like that for yourself. Look in the mirror before you go out the door. Those are self-care tips I think that people forget about.
It's the little things. It is the little things that make the biggest difference in our lives, and we forget that simplicity can be key, and just taking stock and reminding ourselves that not everything needs to be fast-paced, because we are living in a society which is so fast-paced. The way we use social media, the way we shop, the way we need to kind of fit everything in. But the life, if we can just take stock of the benefit of leading a simpler life. And minimalism seems to be something in 2019, I was hearing this term quite a lot. There was a very popular Netflix series talked about the art of minimalism, and that basically is reducing clutter in our life. If we declutter our lives, that could really create more space for our mental well-being. So would you also suggest sort of decluttering our homes and our households and the things that we don't really need?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, you'd laugh if you came into my house, but I mean, I definitely advocate go into the cupboards this January. Think about when was the last time you used something, whether it's something you wore or it's a kitchen item, whatever it may be, wherever you stuck it, under the stairs or in the attic. Get it out. Has it been used in, within a year? If you haven't used it, get rid of it. Give it to somebody who might need it. And I think, it's those simple acts of clearing your, even your bedroom space. You make your bed, take up anything that's on the floor, clear corners from a room. And it does, people talk about feng shui, that balance of energies, and I think it rings true. You get a sense of well-being when you walk into a space and the floor is clear. You haven't got boxes or bags with kids' things shoved in, and games piled high in a corner or something like that. And little things like that can make a huge difference to your sort of sense of calmness, definitely. Having said that, I have quite a few bags to give to charity. Yeah, I do.
Now, you're not For those folks who've just tuned in, I'm having the absolute pleasure of talking to no other than the very fantastic Hajra Khan. She describes herself as a bit of a polymath. She's an actress in a very exciting new comedy series which revolves around Muslim female superheroes. Wow. Also, she is a writer, a television presenter on Islam Channel, and she's also somebody who's in the field of fashion as well as a fashion consultant too. On today's show, Hajra is joining me to talk about how we can embrace being the better you, the better version of you. It is 2020. This is the Urban Kube of 2020, the first show. So it just makes sense to actually be joined by guests on the show this morning to help me embrace being the better me, as well as kind of encouraging you guys to be the better version of you. We would love you to get in touch with me this morning on the show to share with me any tips that you could help encourage other listeners on the show this morning to kind of make your life a little bit more relaxed and sort of balanced. And what I mean by that is what changes can you create for your own mental well-being? I would love to find out from you on 07779 481822. This morning, I'm joined by Hajra Khan over the phone, all the way from London, and she's been giving us some really interesting tips that you can catch up if you've missed any of the conversation on the repeat of the show this evening. Now, we are also Facebook Live. There's nobody in the studio as of yet, but you can leave comments and thoughts on the comment section on Facebook Live this morning. And the time is 17 minutes past 10, and I'm joined by Hajra Khan. So, Assalamu alaikum again, Hajra. I'm sorry, I'm kind of a bit tongue-twisted this morning, or maybe I'm excited. My first show of 2020.
Yeah, I think so. And it's always a joy to talk to you. So, yeah, when we have an audience this morning.
We do. Bright and early, listening in. Yeah. Would love to find out where they're listening in from, and be that Peterborough, Sheffield, Luton surrounding areas, or across the pond.
Because phone
in, guys, if you've got any questions. Now, Hajra, mashallah, you've had a wonderful journey since I have spoken to you last, mashallah. You've been involved in some phenomenal projects, from television, from podcasting to writing and creating. What's life been since we spoke last?
You mentioned the superhero comedy, and there's been quite a bit in the news about comedies and Muslims lately, whether that's comedy sets or pantomimes. But what myself and a group of women did earlier this year, we filmed, it's a bit sort of tongue-in-cheek, but it has got a serious message behind it. We've got a smattering of, what's I say, baby, maybe five superheroes, yeah. Mm-hmm. And they've all have different strengths. And each episode is going out on YouTube, and they're very short, a few minutes long, and we maybe send out a message about addressing homelessness. Mm-hmm. We might address keeping yourself safe as a woman. We might also address cyber security. Mm. And I don't know if anybody has tuned into Hudavids, and if you haven't, get clicking, HODAVIDZ on YouTube, and give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Please support what we're doing, because we'd love to do another series. My kids seem to love it. Children always love silly things, don't they? But I think the messages are there, and they're relevant to all of us, especially when it comes to thinking about personal safety, whether it's out on the street or whether we're online. So, yeah, and it was great fun to do. It definitely was. I got to dress up. I played a policewoman and a criminal most of the time.
What a contrast. Where do you fit in? Which side are you?
Oh, goodness me. Well, you can be anyone when you're wearing a balaclava, can't you? So, apart from that, I was also production assistant. So I was in front of and behind the camera, which was a great experience. Definitely. You pick up a lot of new skills and as well as making a lot of new friends.
So, Hajra, tell me, the series, the Muslim superhero comedy series, why did you want to get involved?
I thought it was great that a team of women were coming together to write and produce something.
Mm-hmm.
We need women in the arts. We need women promoting comedy, and all the different issues that go with being human.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we were contrasting age. Anything from late teens to mid-40s. So there was quite a varied group of us. And I just think it sends out such a positive message that it doesn't matter what stage you are in life. What your goals and aspirations are. You can always achieve something, and you can contribute. I think that's so important. You can have an effect on people's lives in a positive way. We never. I don't think we fully acknowledge how we affect people, and I think those are the main reasons for me getting involved.
What's interesting, you mentioned that they were participants in this comedy series from a different age groups, so it was quite intergenerational. How was that experience for you and for the younger actresses coming together?
I think once we were all together, age just became a number. I'm always an advocate for it's the person. It's never what age they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody brings something to the table. Somebody younger than you might fill you in on the latest music trends. Apart from that, it's always good for a walking urban dictionary, for example. Yeah, and I use my kids for that sometimes. Otherwise, I have to go and look things up in Google. But and obviously, if you're older, you can sort of look at things from another angle. You might, if somebody's panicking and you're looking at it from the outside, you're thinking, well, just slow down a little, things won't seem so bad. I think when you're older, you're not afraid to make mistakes.
And is this something that you were able to reflect with the younger actresses and share those experiences with them?
I think so. Although admittedly, most of them couldn't fathom how old I was until we started prying and asking each other those questions. So I must have seemed just as crazy as the rest of them, regardless of age. But I think. Sorry, Cameron.
I think that's the exciting part of this work that you do, the fact that you're somebody in your 40s, but you have the same energy level and as somebody, say, in their 20s. And I suppose for the younger girls, it must have felt like, we can be like Hajra when we get to that age as well. So age is just a number.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I hope I sent that message to the girls I was working with, and anyone who now clicks on and has a look and has a little giggle, maybe, that, it really doesn't matter what stage you are at in your life, or how late you think you've come back to your career. We all have worth. We all have something that we can give. You know, our experiences enrich us and make us who we are.
Now, Hajra, I'm going to stop you there, my dear, because we're going to take these experiences off to across the break, and inshallah, you're going to be joining me after the break for more conversations. So, guys, we're heading into a break. After the break, still joining me is the absolutely wonderful Hajra. We're going to be catching up with her about her key moments in 2019 and how we can make ourselves a better version of us for 2020. So, join me straight after the break, where I'm joined by no other than the very fantastic Hajra Khan, having some conversations with me on the Urban Kube. So join me straight after this.
The number one radio station for Luton. This is Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining me this morning on the Urban Kube show. The time is 10:30. It is 6th of January 2020, and this is the first show I'm doing for 2020, so it's an absolute pleasure to be in your company this morning. Thank you so very much for tuning in from wherever you're listening in from. Would love to find out, is that Luton surrounding areas? Is that Peterborough, Sheffield, or is that somewhere else around the country? Do tell me. Would love to know where you're catching us. Now, if you want to listen to the show and also participate, then you can contact us on 07779481822. We are in Facebook Live. However, we don't have the cameras on in the studio, but you can get the you can leave comments in the comment section, and the cameras will come on when we're joined by our guests live in the studio very, very shortly. And that is no other than the absolutely wonderful celebrity chef, Shahnaz Ayub. Now, Shahnaz is the presenter of the very awesome cooking show, the notable cooking show called The Love of Food. She's also the author of a cooking book called Perfectly Easy Indian Cooking. She's a very reputable solicitor, as well as the member of the very awesome Women Connecting Women organisation, which we're going to be finding a little bit more about very shortly, because they're going to be having an exciting launch that we would love the ladies of Luton to participate in. Now, today's show is a real celebration about being the better you, and the way we're doing that is connecting with these wonderful guests and yourselves as well. Share with me this morning your tips for making improvements in your life. How can you kind of declutter your life to make life a little bit more easier for yourself? What things are you making or creating changes in? Would love to find out from you. Now, it is a Monday morning, and today is National Thank God It's Monday. I don't know if you can relate to that. Some of you and be like, my goodness, I really don't feel like getting up this morning because the school run is back. Yes, people, the school run is back for many people across the country, but not all. Some people are still not having to take their children back. I bet you're thinking, yay. I had 1 out of 6 children to take to their educational institute, because that's what they call it, and even that was a struggle. Gosh, we missed the alarm clock, and it was really, if you could just, if there was a camera in my house, it was hilarious how we got out this morning. I wonder if you can relate. Contact me, tell me, share your story. I'm all ears. It's 07779481822. Now, on the show this morning, I've had the absolute pleasure of speaking to the very wonderful Hajra Khan this morning, all the way from London. She's done the school run. She's joining me on the show, and she's talking to me about some of the fabulous projects that she's been involved in. And she is a producer, she's a fashion consultant, she's a journalist, and she's the actress in the new Muslim superhero comedy series. Series. That's the word, series. It's not serious. It's not serious. We're not all about being serious. It's all about the laughs, right? This morning, Hajra, thank you so very much for staying on the line and joining me on the other half of the show this morning. How are you, my dear?
I'm good. It's wonderful to be with you, and yes, serious we definitely are not.
That's what it's all about. We should not take life too seriously, should we? It should. But how do we balance that out, Hajra? In light of the way the world is heading, politically, it can be quite exhausting and mentally consuming. So how do you balance your thoughts in light of the world around you? How do you remain positive?
I mean, you're quite right. We were sort of ending 2019. Obviously, it's had its challenges. The whole year has been smattered with various things, and then we start 2020 with more challenges. I think obviously every time you turn on the TV, the news is only going to depict what is going wrong with the world. I think if things like that are bringing people down in their day, the logical thing to do is limit how much time you do spend reading bad news or listening to bad news. It's not a case of burying your head in the sand. Yes, we all need to be informed of what's going on in the world, socially and politically, but have a cut-off point. Go and do something else, or listen to something else. Tune into Urban Kube. Listen to some music. Yeah, it is. I am a real believer that what we do condition ourselves. If you're around positive people, you feel positive. If you're filling your thoughts with positive messages, you are going to feel more uplifted. And so equally, if we're focusing on the negative all the time, it's going to bring us down. So, keep things in balance. Personally, I would, shift focus, change your activity, definitely. And keep doing, Don't be like 24/7 on the news, whatever channel that may be. If it's upsetting you.
Makes perfect sense. It's going back to that thing about decluttering. We can also declutter what our intake is in what we observe and what we see. And a lot of people nowadays are actually getting their news feed off Facebook more than actually watching television. So what would you say regarding our input on social media? How can we balance that?
Everyone's phone has one of those little monitors, doesn't it? That will tell you how much time you spent on various forms of social media throughout the day or week. And, sometimes we can be a bit horrified. Think, well, I'm sure I didn't spend that many minutes or that many hours on such and such app. I think, again, it's about self-discipline, isn't it? You might take up your phone to have a quick look at Twitter, catch up on what might have gone on earlier in the day. Again, it's limiting yourself. It definitely is limiting. So, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes or 15 minutes to scour X amount of news sites, or whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, see what's going on, and stop. Just stop. There's so many other things that we can look at, but there are so many other positive stories. You look at all the achievements that we've accomplished this year. as a human race and as a Muslim community globally. You have people excelling in sports, aviation. We've got people who are outspoken in climate change, and it's making people wake up and take notice. These are the positive things that are happening in the world that I think can help counteract that low of constant bad news. The very fact that somebody else is saying, look, we can do something, it doesn't matter how small, if we just stand up and speak, it can bring about change.
Alhamdulillah. Were there any key moments for you, Hajra, across 2019 that stood out for you?
Oh, there's so many. It's hard to choose. But just in terms of, you have lots of Muslim women in sports this last year who, obviously they've been in sports for quite a while, but they seem to have hit the headlines in 2019. You've got people like Ramala Ali. She's a UK Somali boxer and model. She became a global athlete for Nike, and she became the new face of Pantene last year.
Wow.
What a contrast.
Wow.
That's...
She wears a hijab and this is like a hair advert? What's going on?
This one is not a hijabi, but then you do have ones who are hijabis, like Hajra Khan. She's the captain of the national women's team in Afghanistan.
Wow.
This is a footballer. And you've got, I'm trying to remember the other young lady's name, who's coming up in the Premier League as a refugee. No, sorry, not a refugee, a referee. Excuse my slip of the tongue there. Jawera Abdul Robel. Jawera Robel. I think that's her name. Again, Somali. She's very, very young, and she was making headline news as a referee, and she's female, which is a big thing for the Premier League, and she wears a hijab.
Wow.
And she's black. So
wow.
On all fronts, she's breaking down barriers, and she's changing the narrative. It doesn't, it really doesn't matter what you look like, what you believe in. If you're good at the job, you can get somewhere.
And this is really inspiring for the younger generation as well, the young Muslims, to look up to these amazing, phenomenal role models who are making their mark in every avenue, every sector of society. I mean, Khadija Mella became the first UK jockey to wear the hijab, and she won her race. How outstanding is that? So we're seeing that the hijab is not stopping these women to achieve, and they are achieving above and beyond in the world of politics, in the world of sport, in the world of academia, which has been so inspiring to see across 2019. And I hope this continues to create greater understanding and acknowledgement that, there is more to the Muslim woman than the world is willing to kind of accept. If that makes sense, Hajra, would you agree?
I definitely agree. It's taken a lot of hard work for people to change their perspective on what it means to be a woman wearing a scarf, whether that be a turban, a bandana, or a scarf fully wrapped around your head or not. It takes a huge amount of effort to change people's attitudes. But the very fact that the fashion world and the sports world has taken on board designers, models, athletes, and pushed them to the forefront, has normalised the hijab to an extent, I think, and has normalised the Muslim woman. We are moving away from that conventional stereotype of, where we're chained to the kitchen sink, and our only role is to sort of stay at home, look after the house, and we're forced to wear black all day long. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous stereotype. But nonetheless, all these women who are at the forefront of these sectors of media, sports, and society are showing us, well, it's a fallacy, and we can do anything we want to at the end of the day.
I mean, the greatest success story has to be American politics, and the fact that we have got Muslim women in politics in America. It can't get groundbreaking than that. Your thoughts on that? What a contrast, really.
Yeah, who would have thought? You'd have to give me all the correct names. We have Rashida, oh goodness me, all the different congresswomen. Mm-hmm. We have Asian, we have Somali, we have Hispanic women who are in Congress, or who have been in Congress in 2019, and you would never have thought you would have seen a woman of colour, let alone a woman who is openly Muslim, speaking for the American people. And it's on the one hand, you've got to look at that for what it is. That's phenomenal that people voted those women in. Ilhan Omar, forgive me, that's it, Ilhan Omar. She's one of the most outspoken congresswomen, and it gives you hope. That's what it does for me. It gives me hope. Not everyone in America, as we might be led to believe, is busy voting Trump back in. That's what it comes down to. So, these women are pushing for the rights of the ordinary people, whether it's to dispel local poverty, get more books in schools, provide more mental health facilities. They're doing it, and people are voting them in. And it's not just Muslims who are voting them in, it's the ordinary American.
And that's quite refreshing to hear when you say that. People, Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar have made history. And may they continue to do so. We still remain optimistic.
We hold on to hope.
Yeah, we hold on to hope because we're like that, aren't we, Hajra? We are. And being in the work that we do, in particular the work that you do as not just as an actress, as a writer, journalist, you're also a consultant as well. So fashion is your thing. So tell us a little bit more about your fashion journey. Fashion makes everyone happy, right? So this is my favourite part of the conversation. So how has that been for you so far? And what changes can we what trends can we expect in 2020?
And oh goodness me, the world is your oyster. I mean, last year, believe it or not, I got to interview Halima Aden. I mean, she's the first hijabi black Muslim model. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and that was out of this world. I mean, people were storming all over her, and I actually got to interview her. So, I mean, that was a highlight for me. And you look at somebody like that, and she was the first hijabi swimwear model. And I say swimwear, I'm talking about modest swimwear for 2019. That's sort of putting alternative beachwear on the map, isn't it?
So that's burkini, the full body covering.
Bikini, yes. And I think like for 2020, there's so many companies coming up with a multitude of designs. Mm-hmm. We don't have to just conform to one style suits all if we want to go down to our local pool. there is something for the glamourpuss, diva, and just the sports fanatic, and all of them will cover you from head to toe. Whether it's a full cap that covers your hair and neck, or it's a bodysuit with just a cap. There's fitted, there's long, there's frills, there are stripes, and I think 2020 is telling you anything goes. It just depends on what you like when it comes to modest swimwear. In terms of clothing, I think people look at me and they get a bit confused, but definitely the trend of PVA, that sort of fake look leather, that's in. And obviously we're in the depths of winter. Apart from it looking funky, you get long skirts are in, and they're in every fabric you can think of. But my personal favourite is the faux leather look, and it is a trend, and it goes with anything. Whether you want to team it up with a jumper, pair of boots, or you want a night out and stick a pair of heels on and a nice blouse, it's hijab compatible completely. Because I get away with it.
How do you get away with it? Is it because of the layering? Because is layering still in? Lots of layers.
I think it is. You know what? When I first started wearing hijab, there was a drought in terms of fashion, and you were forever trying to layer up, and you couldn't always find the right things. Obviously, years and years fast forward, it is a thing. Layering is a thing. I mean, you can go in and buy things off the peg that will cover the bits that you want covered. But you have a look at Instagram or YouTube. You've got all these people like Nabila B and Zainab Hassano, and they're all doing these sort of multi-wardrobe effect with just maybe 8 items, and they'll get half a dozen outfits out of it. It just shows sort of showing you how to work a capsule wardrobe, and it all does seem to be about layering up, whether it's a pair of cargo pants and a long shirt. We're in winter, you might have a long baggy cardigan over the top, and your scarf wrapped with in a turban style. You've got all kinds of things going on. I'm a fan of layering, definitely.
And I like the fact that you mentioned a capsule wardrobe, the fact that you can have 8 items in your wardrobe and you can rework them and layer them and create different looks. And that's quite a good thing to do, especially when we talk about fast fashion and the fact that we're becoming we're over-consuming, and this is impacting the environment. So decluttering our wardrobes and just sticking with a few items is quite environmentally friendly. Hajra?
Most definitely. I mean, I've been doing a lot of work this year on eco-fashion and promoting how we shop, where we shop, where the company sources its materials from. People aren't even aware that companies outsource in, say, countries like Malaysia and Indonesia. They have their factories there and are busy dyeing the cloth to make the clothes. Where does the dye go? Straight into the river that runs through the town that a small community live in, goes on to the next town, pollutes their water supply. You're destroying a whole ecosystem. You're destroying a whole livelihood when you're not conscious of where and how things are made, and how we can help if we're not always sure where something was dyed or where it was made. It's just think, when you go to shop for something, are you absolutely in love with whatever you're buying? I always ask myself that. I'm not one of those people who saves clothes for their Sunday best.
Mm-hmm.
If you love it, wear it. And ask yourself that question. Is it going to go with more than one thing with the rest of my wardrobe?
Mm.
If the answer is yes, buy it, because you'll get longevity out of it. I know it sounds crazy. I've got things in my wardrobe that are 20 years old. Equally, I've got things in my wardrobe that I might have bought just a couple of weeks ago.
Mm.
So it is all about thinking
Consciously about, because
just being more conscious about how we buy. Yeah.
Now the environment is a key issue, in especially in light of Australia at the moment and the fires out there. May Allah provide rain. It's so tragic. So I think we do need to be a little bit more conscientious about the way we consume and the way we how we're impacting the environment. Now, Hajra, we are now heading to the end of the first part, and I just want to ask you, thank you so very much for joining me on the show this morning. How can people connect with you? We've got about 32 seconds.
I am all over social media. You can find me on Twitter. I'm usually Hajra Doodle, HajraDoodle. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You'll recognise my picture.
Fantastic.
Quite easily.
Thank you so very much, Hajra, for joining me this morning. It's been awesome speaking to you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. Assalamu alaikum. We're heading off to the break. Join me straight after this. Assalamu alaikum.
You're listening to an Inspire FM podcast, making available our popular programs from our daily broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning, and assalamu alaikum. 11 o'clock, folks. It is 11. And Monday, 6th of January, 2020. And it's me, Shemiza, taking it all the way up to 12 o'clock on Where Else Is the Urban Kube Show. The first show of 2020. And it's an absolute delight to be in your company this morning, wherever you're tuning in from. And I hope you are tuning in. Do tell me. Would love to find out where that is exactly. Now, the show today, we're talking about how to be the better you. And the reason why we're talking about this is because many people tend to create a New Year's resolution. And one of that is to kind of make improvements in their lives. Now, that could be possibly getting fit. It could be trying out new experiences. It could be doing things that make them feel a lot more conscientious about the surroundings around them. So on today's show, we're getting to find out what our guests are doing to make those improvements in their lives in order to inspire, motivate and influence you. So as always, I'm having some fabulous conversations lined up for you, and today is no exception. I am joined by a wonderful guest who is a friend of the show. She is somebody that inspires me and motivates me in the amazing work that she does. Now, she is a trailblazer in her own right. You may recognize her name, her face and her voice, because she is the face of a very exciting TV series which talks about our favorite topic, and it's food. The program is called For the Love of Food. She's also the author of a tremendous cookery book that I absolutely love called The Perfectly Indian Easy Cooking, and she will correct me because I always get it wrong. She's also the lady behind a fantastic organisation which is going to be doing its launch very, very shortly. It's Women Connecting Women, and she is a very reputable solicitor as well. Is no other than Shahnaz Ayub. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. I love that intro. That actually took up half of the hour that I have here, so I'll just leave now.
Oh, bless you. I don't think it's enough. We need more than an hour to kind of share your tremendous journey. But it's an absolute pleasure having you as my guest on
Thank you.
first.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
First show of 2020.
Oh,
Thank you.
Shemiza, you know what? It's always just such a pleasure to be here. I am at your beck and call because you are wonderful. You are one of my favourite people. You are so inspirational yourself. You say so many nice things about other people, but actually at some point I am going to turn the tables on you.
Let's turn them around. Let's just switch her mic off. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about yourself today. And thank you so very much for joining me for out of your busy schedule, because you were actually in court this morning.
No, it got vacated. I was fine, cool. So that was good. And then my plan B was to tidy up all the mess that had been made by everyone over the Christmas period. But when I got that call, I thought, it's a balancing exercise. It wasn't a hard decision to make, I have to say. Cleaning up or...
Oh, gosh. And it is sort of, now that the children are getting ready to get back, everybody's getting back into the routine of
they
things.
were back. Well, the oldest one is at university, so she went back last week with all her debts with her, thank God.
It got vacated. I was fine. Cool.
And
that's me pressing the Inspire FM Facebook page. By the way, guys, we are live. The camera is on. Thank you, Shazia Afzal, for your comment. I will read that because I just pressed it.
What did she say?
I need to put the volume down and get and see what
Shazia, you better have said something nice about
I'm sure
me.
She
Otherwise,
is. Ladies,
there will be trouble.
Morning, beautiful ladies, Shahnaz Ayub and Shemiza Rashid. Hope you lovely ladies. Oh, well, we are, Shazia.
Oh, with your dua, Shazia. She is such a lovely, lovely soul. You know I love you so much, Shazia.
And we are going to be giving some shout-outs to many others who are listening into this morning's show. So I hope the women from Women Connecting Women are
they are
tuning
such
in.
a lovely bunch of girls. You know, I have formed a group of the most gorgeous sisters, beautiful inside and out. I'm so blessed because, you know, when you, at this stage and at this stage of my life, when you meet new people, you meet them with some apprehension because you get to that stage where you have very little time and also very little patience. As you get older, your patience starts to wear thin, as my children and husband will tell you. But this fraternity and sorority that I have become part of is something I'm so blessed to be part of, I have to say. They are such wonderful souls. Shazia is one of them. Oh, there's so many. Khalida, Naseem, Anisa, Syra. Shout out to Syra. She's not feeling very well.
She's not feeling well.
No, and we love
really
her. That's our very own Masi
bless.
Masala. She lights up a room with her humour, with her effervescence. I mean, she's just
and
amazing.
Food, the aroma of food as well.
She doesn't bring enough of it in. She needs to work on that. But all of them are Hasna, Husnara, and of course Azad, who is our token male and one of the founders. He always wants to go into the background, but really he should be at the front. He's wonderful. And on the subject of that, actually, we're going to be launching our big launch for the organisation. I don't know. I mean, I know that you've had guests on before, and including myself, that have spoken about WCW. It is such a wonderful organisation. It's called Women Connecting Women. It's about women empowering themselves, but it's not just about that. It's about us getting together, networking, connecting, and being there for maybe the less fortunate of ourselves, of our sisters. It's not just limited to one ethnic group, it's for everybody. So we have seminars that are held very fortunately in Crescent Hall in Luton, which is a lovely venue that they give to us free of charge. And we're so blessed to have that care of Azad, which is brilliant. But we hold seminars and the tickets just sell out. We have them on Eventbrite. They sell out within a couple of days because they are so brilliant. And we have people that have small businesses that we want to encourage. So we have their stalls set up around the hall as well. And it encourages them. And it's just all brilliant. So we've had topics on health, mental health as a physical thing and mental health as well. Exercise. So many other topics actually that they don't spring to mind. But the main thing is that we're having our main launch on the 29th of February, which we're very, very excited about. We're having key celebrities as well that are going to be turning up and providing entertainment. And also, we've got a very, very talented main presenter, who I shall not name.
No, do not name. We'll keep that as an exclusive.
An exclusive, but turn up, guys. It's a mixed event. It's a mixed event. And if you get a table of 10 or 12, that it's at a very much reduced rate, but it's going to be absolutely brilliant. And I'm really looking forward to being part of that.
And I suppose the purpose of this event is to kind of highlight the tremendous success stories of the women that are in the heart of Luton Town.
Yes.
Now, the women that you've mentioned as part of Women Connect Women are all from Luton.
We are, and we're all, use that phrase continuously, like-minded, because we are, but we're from very diverse backgrounds. My background doesn't match any of the others, but what brings us all together is this common thought of giving. Actually, that, you know, none of us have time in our schedule, but we make that time because it's so important to give back to the community. You give and you receive in other ways. I really believe that. My life, alhamdulillah, is so blessed. And I say that because, you know, you get to a certain stage in your life where you have a lot of friends, and a lot of these friends of similar age are going through so much emotionally, through their marriage, through their children. What keeps us together is not thinking about what's going to be our New Year resolution or what we're going to change at the beginning of the year, because that never usually lasts. We all kid ourselves about that. You have to live each day as it comes. And you have to be grateful, but you have to work at things. You know, nothing actually turns out for itself. You have to work at things. So when my friends, for example, so many of them whose marriages are falling apart, and it's so unfortunate. And you know, what comes from that is the fact that, you know, you can't take anything for granted. You have to work at your marriage. You have to work at your children. You have to work at your career. You have to work at keeping yourself healthy and well and mindful of what's going on around you. And not worry about things that are not in your control. I think that is something that I've really learned over the last few years.
Wow.
It's not in my control. I am not going to worry about it because it's just going to cause anxiety, which is going to set the tone of the house. And this is something that as mothers, we've got to be very mindful of. So it is working on yourself, and health is a big part of that, Shemiza. You know, I came back from India with my mum. I had an epic trip with her. And I met people after a very long time that I hadn't seen in years. And these people were either my age or younger than me. And the same for my mum, either her age or younger. And man, did they look dilapidated. Oh my gosh, they looked like they were 50 years older than me. They act like they're 50 years older.
Wow.
Which would make them 100. I don't mean that. But then I look at my mother, alhamdulillah, this woman who is a pillar of strength, who has so much energy in her that is that her mind is just ticking all the time. And I compared myself and her to the people that are there that have all the luxuries around them. And people might think that the grass is greener on the other side when you have all these luxuries. But it's not, because what really keeps us going is the mundaneness of life, is the routine, is the fact that we've got to do work in order to achieve something. And that's what keeps us young. I really do believe that.
And our hearts effervescent and evergreen.
Evergreen.
Evergreen. And today's show is about being the better you. It is 2020, the first show of, the first Urban Kube show of the year. And I'm absolutely delighted to have Shahnaz Ayub joining me on the first show to share her thoughts on how to build the better you. And I've been utterly inspired. She's only been here for 11 minutes and I'm already like, you know what? I can carry on listening to this woman forever. Now, if you'd like to join in with any of the conversations of the show, please do so. It's 07779481822. We are Facebook Live. You can leave comments on the Facebook Live page for Inspire FM as well. Thank you so very much, Shazia Afzal, for your love and your thoughts this morning. Would love to read out more messages and give you some shout outs as well. Now, on today's show, we are sharing how can we maintain a balance and build a better life for ourselves heading into 2020. Now, we are surrounded by a lot of negativity on a political front, which can actually have an impact on our mental well-being. So how does one kind of counteract that? How does one remain positive, especially with it being January, and a lot of people statistically are impacted by something called the January blues. And this is something that I'm going to kind of speak to Shahnaz about. So today's show is about kind of creating a good mental well-being and how to do that. And would love to find out what things that you put into place in order to make your life a little bit more balanced. Now, Hajra Khan, our guest earlier on, spoke to us about decluttering, being conscientious about what we shop, being conscientious about how we use social media, and also the amount of time that we are watching the news as well can play a really good role in our mental well-being. So do get in contact with us. Share with me your thoughts on 07779 481 It is the Urban Kube with me, Shemiza, and Shahnaz this morning. The time is 11:13, and it's the first Urban Kube show of 2020. I'm feeling quite excited about that. You can hear it in my voice. Shahnaz, it's an absolute pleasure having you joining me this morning. Goodness me. Now, you are a professional, an activist, and also a mother and wife. How do you balance everything in all these wonderful roles that you do, and which you do so well?
We all do it, Shemiza. I don't know a single woman that isn't a circus act. We've just all learned to juggle so well, haven't we? And in fact, going back to that trip to India, it was so nice because that was 3 weeks of my life away from it all.
Wow. And you were quite nervous about leaving your children.
With my husband.
Yeah, like, seriously?
Not because he was going to do anything to them, God forbid, but you know what? I think as mums, we just set ourselves these standards. And there would be times when I would FaceTime them and they would be, for example, eating pizza in the bed. And I could feel the beads of sweat coming down my face. And talk about multitasking. When I entered the door, as soon as I got home, after 3 weeks of being away, of course, my son comes running for me, first of all, because he's just my little ludlu. So he comes running for me. And the multitasking was hugging someone, that you haven't seen for 3 weeks, but at the same time checking out the floor, which was a slightly different shade of brown from how I left it. So, there was that. It wasn't perfect, but boy, did my husband, Shahid, I know you're listening when you should be working from home, but I know you're listening really.
Bless.
I love you. You did such a great job.
Fantastic.
And I am so proud of the man that you are and the father that you are, because, that is not easy. There are not many fathers that would volunteer to do that. And he even said, I don't know whether he was being generous or whether he was just, dropping a hint, but he asked me to stay a bit longer. I think actually the kids liked the fact that things were slightly more easygoing than they are when they're with me. And I'm a bit of a matron. I've been told I'm a white noise, because I nag too much. And I know I do all those things. And mums, we do that, don't we? But we have to do that, and we must continue to do that.
Regimented, keep things in order.
Because some of that actually goes in, and you'll know that when they leave home, either when they go off to university or when they leave home to get married or follow their own paths in life, you know that all that nagging will have paid off.
Inshallah.
Because at some point, they actually ring you up and they'll say, that thing that you always used to say to me, can you just tell me how to,
Oh, wow.
And that's
Okay.
wonderful. And I see remnants of that already in my first one that's gone. And you just hope that that's going to be the case with all of them. It's never going to be perfect. My life is not perfect. I know that I'm doing all these things, but as I said, we juggle. Shemiza, you juggle. We all juggle. I mean, God knows how you juggle. You've got 6,000 million children. I don't know how you do it, but you managed to get them all at school on time.
Carpet and the shade the laminate is really quite unusual at the moment.
That's partly me,
flooring.
but that's partly because we are scared to death of our cleaner.
Guys, this lady cleans her house before the cleaner
Yes.
arrives. Like, seriously?
Oh my
Who
God,
does
we're
that?
so
That
scared
defeats the
of
whole
her.
objective, Shahnaz. Can I just say that?
She actually brings beads of sweat down my husband's face. I've never seen him more nervous about seeing a woman as he is before she arrives at the house. But yeah, so it is about that. But listen, and this is particularly to the women. I know there are men listening as well, but particularly to the women. Think about yourself a bit more. This is really important. Children and husbands are very adaptable. I know I've said we've got to work at that, and we do have to work at that. But they've got their own minds, they've got their own hands and legs. They can, what taught me being that 3 weeks away is that things are okay.
Yes.
And you can take a step back sometimes.
Of course.
When you take a step back, take it back not for anyone else other than yourself.
Wow.
And look after yourself, because nobody else is going to.
Of course.
We've only got one life to live, and it's really important that you pay attention to the health.
You look absolutely fabulous, Shahnaz. What are you doing, girl?
I'm drinking 3 litres of water a day. And when you do that, yeah, you find loos everywhere. you discover
she's just going to run off now.
No.
I have a show to do, Shahnaz. You're not going anywhere.
That's another thing. I've learnt amazing control. But apart from that, it's about looking after yourself. So, especially as you get older, this was the point I was making about particularly the women back home that I saw, that they all looked so much older. Why did they look older? Why aren't people getting fresh air? Go for that walk, get some fresh air. Also exercise. This is something I've really started doing. So this year, I didn't set it as a New Year resolution, because I knew that I would fall at the first post. By the 3rd of January, I'd be like,
yeah,
what?
people are still doing their resolutions from 2015. They haven't accomplished.
No, exactly.
Rolling them over.
And I have always battled with my weight. I have always, because food is my thing. And especially when they say the camera adds 15 pounds, well, in my case, it adds a lot more. When I look at myself,
Come on, Shahnaz, that's being a little bit cruel.
I do look at myself sometimes and think, oh, do you know what?
But I think we all do.
But that inspires me to do something about it. So look after yourself. So when you look after yourself and you exercise, your skin starts glowing. Spend money on good makeup. Go and get your hair done more often. Do things that are going to make you feel better about yourself, because then you will be a happier person. And there is nothing more inspirational than having a mother who feels good about herself. That is the greatest thing that you can do for your child. And also for your husband, or whoever's there. Whoever's there to appreciate it will appreciate that, I think, change in you. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there's some days that I just wake up and think, oh, God, I really, really do not think I can face the day. It's just going to be rubbish if I've got work. But throw yourself into it. Throw yourself into every situation and just deal with it, because it's never that bad, with anything that you face in life.
So would you say don't overthink?
Don't overthink. I mean, this is another thing in the field of law that I do as well. It's just so commonsensical. You'll have all these lawyers that will turn up with all their precedents of law and this and that. For me, it is just about keeping it sensible and simple, and getting a positive result. And that's another thing. It's been health, but it's also been my work. I've always wanted to build up a private practice, which I've done, on my own,
Mashallah.
On my terms, with holidays when I want to take them. And that's another thing, people that want to be entrepreneurial and want to go out there and have their own businesses. There is nothing like working for yourself, but there's always that element of risk that's attached, particularly in today's world where, we need so much money to pay for everything. Of course we do. But it is about that. It's about sometimes looking at the risks, judging them, assessing them, and seeing whether it's worth taking that leap. And if you feel that it is worth it, there is no age attached to that. Just go and do it. And, if you sink, get up, brush yourself off and start again with something else. And if you swim, then make sure it's that channel.
I'm liking the philosophy here. We're also catching up with some of the comments that are being left on the Facebook page.
What, tell us to shut up?
No. No, not in so many words. So Shazia says, every day is a new day. Wake up with gratitude and appreciate our blessings. We are blessed with so much. Happy New Year, Urban Kube Show. Thank you, Shazia.
Shazia runs this. She's very active in the healthy minds sector.
Of course.
She has brought a lot of information into Women Connecting Women. And in fact, when we did that seminar on mental health, that was the first time I sat there in a hall full of women, probably about 150 women, where women just saw it as a group therapy session and started talking. And it was incredible what was coming out.
Wow.
And it was really healthy for them as well to be in a group of people where they felt comfortable enough.
And not being judged.
You know, that is the most important thing. You must never judge anyone. And you must never feel judged. Don't feel as if people are judging you. Don't anticipate that when you walk into a room that people are looking at you and they are judging you. A lot of them are looking at you out of curiosity and nothing else.
And intrigue. It's intrigue, isn't it? Who is this person? And I'd like to know more about them, possibly.
And it's up to you to show them your best side.
And Shazia also says self-care is the way forward, is the only way you can juggle and multitask to better others around us. Thank you for that, Shazia.
Is it only Shazia that's listening today?
We need more people, folks. We got Khalida.
Khalida, yes, from Women Connecting Women.
She's sent us a big heart. Thank you.
She is a beautiful, beautiful girl.
So I'm loving the vibes. I'm loving the energy this morning, and we'd love you to contribute, guys. 07779 481 822. WhatsApp us your thoughts about how to make the better you. What would you do, or what are you putting into place to kind of create a more balanced way forward? And inshallah, we will read those out. And also you can catch up with us on the Facebook live page as well for Inspire FM. Leave your comments in the comment section and we look forward to reading them out. Folks, it's 11:23, Monday 6th of January, the first show of the Urban Kube on this side of 2020. And I have great pleasure in being joined by no other than Shahnaz Ayub. Now, Shahnaz is a friend of the show. Ever since I've been doing this show, we've always had the pleasure of her joining us as a guest. And so it's absolutely wonderful to have her as my first face of 2020's Urban Kube show in the studio with me, inspiring us with some great snippets of wisdom that I'm definitely going to take on board, and I hope you guys will do as well. Now, Shahnaz is in the studio this morning to not only talk about looking forward to 2020, but also her key moments of 2019. There's been some tremendous news stories in 2019, and it'd be wonderful to find out, Shahnaz, what your thoughts are. If there's anything in particular that stood out for you. She's looking at me thinking, you didn't tell me about that bit. But hey, darling, we have a break. We'll be heading off to a break, so you can kind of Google those stories in. Google. But we'd love to find out from you guys as well. What were the key moments for you in 2019? And how can we better ourselves for 2020? It'd be lovely to find out. Now, back to the show. Shahnaz, wow. You've had a tremendous year as well, and we're heading off to a break. After the break, we're going to find out more about your cooking show, because food is something we love to talk about, and it'd be nice to kind of find out, for me, how to kind of budget my shopping bill, because things are getting a little bit tight financially with Brexit. So it'd be great to get some tips from you as well. So we're heading off to a break, guys. After the break, as promised, Shahnaz is in the studio, and so am I. So we're going to be finding out a little bit more about how to kind of not just budget our shopping bill, but also some key moments of 2019 that
I can't think of any at the moment.
But you've got about a couple of minutes to Google.
I've got a couple of minutes to Google them.
And we're heading off to a break, and after the break, more conversations with myself and the very, very fabulous Shahnaz Ayub. So join me straight after this.
This is Inspire FM, with you 24 hours a day. Inspire. Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning. I hope you're well wherever you're listening in from, people. It is the Urban Kube show with me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock, the final half an hour of the show. It's gone by so quickly. My first show of 2020, yes, from the Gregorian calendar. I've got to add that in because the Islamic New Year has already started. It started way back. But this is the New Year of the Gregorian calendar, 2020, the Urban Kube show, the first show, and I'm not alone. I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by a tremendous woman. Tremendous women.
We are using our adjectives today.
Oh, but very well, and rightly so. She's somebody that has made a huge impact of women across Luton, and especially in my life as well, and this show with her effervescent personality and so much radiance as well, is no other than Shahnaz Ayub. And she is a notable cookbook author. She's also a television presenter, and she is one of the key members of an amazing organisation called Women Connect Women, and she's also a very established, notable legal professional as well. So, mashallah, absolute pleasure having her on the show this morning. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me, as always. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so very much, Shahnaz. It's been a good giggle and very inspiring with the key things that you've talked about earlier on. Now, today's show is about being the better you in 2020. We're seeing a lot of, research suggesting that a lot of people, when they enter a new year or at the beginning of January, feel something called the January blues. And that is kind of, maybe that's related to the fact that the weather gets a little bit colder and people are quite sensitive to light and dark. So it makes them feel a little bit low in themselves, or they're kind of wanting to muster up energy to look forward to the future. And people are kind of feeling that they've not done what they wanted to do. And they need to kind of like focus a little bit more on creating those changes. So that sometimes impacts them feeling a little bit low.
I think it's simpler than that. Mm-hmm. I think it's that they've spent too much money and that they've got fat.
Guys, I need to put a bit of a warning on this show. When Shahnaz and I do get together, we don't hold back. But all for the better good. So they spent too much money and they've got a bit fat.
I mean, I do blame the fact
the holiday season, and we eat a lot.
Going back to spending too much money. So people put themselves under all this pressure to buy all these Christmas presents when the sales aren't on. Then the moment Christmas Day is done, the Boxing Day sale starts, so they feel this pressure again to go and get all the sale items.
Like there's one particular shop, right? I'm sorry I'm interrupting you there, but I've got to interject here, and I've got to say
you saw me in it on Boxing Day. Stop it!
And there's pictures of you stood outside 3:00 in the morning. No, I'm joking. No. I'm joking. But there are people that do that.
So obviously it's a lack of sleep as well, and then the retail therapy, and then of course, what do we do when we're feeling down? We eat. Mm-hmm. We comfort eat, and of course there's plenty of it around, all this chocolate that's been distributed everywhere. We still have chocolate in the house that we've had to hide because
I have a cupboard full.
Oh, it's ridiculous how much chocolate we've eaten and how much, because although, I mean, as Muslims, we don't celebrate Christmas per se, but it's that time for getting together. It's the festive season. So what do? We're meeting up with friends all the time. Mm-hmm. We're eating all the time. We're going out. We're eating again. We're going out. We're shopping. We're eating again. The whole 3 weeks is taken up with just that. So come January, we're feeling a bit lethargic and a bit sluggish. And we're looking at ourselves and thinking, well, not only is the account so low, it's reaching the bottom, but on top of that, this is how we're not fitting into any of the stuff that we've actually bought.
In the sales.
Yeah, so it's a double whammy, isn't it? I think, it's that time, isn't it? Christmas is just such a lovely time of the year. Not because it's Christmas, but because everyone here is just so happy. We're all full of spirit.
Time off. People are coming together, and it's a time when everybody has off at the same time. So you do get together with your family, and it's a wonderful time.
Absolutely. When I say it's the most wonderful time of the year, it really is, because it is lovely. There are lights everywhere you look. The whole country is lit up. Everyone's in that festive mood. And there's nothing wrong in joining in with that. And I think actually I see that happen more and more with our people as well. We're joining in. We're becoming part of this.
But it's quite controversial though, because there are lots of people who are kind of opposed to joining in, and lots of Muslim families, not Muslim families, but lots of, on social media see folk kind of really engage with all the festivities, and then other people are opposing that. But that's a conversation for another day, I think.
Well, I had to say, actually, on that point, so when I went into my halal meat shop just before Christmas, all I saw were turkeys. And
halal turkeys, the business is up.
The business is up. So, and I was asking the gosht wala, the gosht wala, bhai sahab, are these selling? And he said, absolutely. In fact, we've had to order more on top because on Christmas Day, people are getting together and they're celebrating a season. It's not even the birth of Christ on Christmas Day. You know, that is something that was given a date. But you know, what we are celebrating is a season.
Families getting together on a day off.
On a day off, on a statutory day off, when we can just enjoy ourselves and just be together.
And eat.
I mean, they have it at Thanksgiving. They have it in America. Everybody gets together. There's no religious connotation attached to that at all. And there's no reason why we shouldn't do it as well. And I think it's good because it promotes integration more than anything else. And I did notice something, actually, that I saw on a website, a Luton News website, where on one of the days, it was one of the statutory days, actually, that the Muslim Society had got together, the community, and they were feeding people in St George's Square.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, how wonderful is that?
And that was Inspire FM. On Inspire FM, they were giving away, it was Bring Your Neighbour to St George's Square. They were giving away tea, food, free rides.
I love that.
We were talking about that with Brother Tariq, and it was wonderful to hear that. So well done, Inspire FM. Well done to the volunteers. Well done in giving your time away to the community of Luton and engaging the wider community as well. So that was at a weekend where the fair was on and they were giving away rides. But I have to address something that you've said, Shahnaz. There will be people listening in that may not possibly agree with something that you may have said about you know, regarding kind of like the Christmas side and it's not from a religious perspective. It is more about people coming together on a day off. So this is what we need to kind of clarify on that. It's coming together. You're not celebrating the religious element.
And that's what I've said. You're not celebrating the religious element. It's a seasonal thing. You are coming together on a day off and you're celebrating family. And friendship. And feasting.
And that's a beautiful
family, friendship and feasting.
And that's a beautiful thing, which many, many households have been doing. Now, you also mentioned about the Muslim community giving. And my goodness, on Christmas Day, a lot of the communities across the country have given. You know, we've seen eateries opening up and giving away free food. We've seen the Muslim community going out on the streets and feeding the homeless. We've seen parties that have been created specifically for the homeless. And it's just been such a beautiful effort. There's been newspaper articles being circulated saying how much the Muslim community has given on Christmas Day. How absolutely, utterly wonderful that is to see. And may that continue.
And we do that with Eid as well. I mean, you know, now is the time more than ever with what's going on around the world. Let's show what a beautiful religion we are. And really forecast that as something for people to take in as something positive, because there is too much negativity, and that really needs to be, it doesn't speak for the volumes. We need to show the people that we are in accordance with Islam, because Islam is about peace, harmony, and tolerance. Tolerance is the thing that we have to embrace more than anything, and that means not judging any other society.
Of course, and rightly so. And tolerance is something that I kind of want to talk to you a little bit more about, Shahnaz. We're heading into 2020. The world looks quite dark politically. In light of the present climate. Shahnaz, how can one remain optimistic? How can one kind of, you know, as a parent...
You know, it got to the 3rd of January and my daughter was saying, what is the point of me studying for my A-levels? You know, what's going to happen?
Wow.
I mean, there was a bit of jest attached to that, obviously, and, you know, a little bit of cynicism. I think, you know, the millennials, the teenagers of our world are just looking at the people that are making these decisions in our lifetime, including the decisions relating to our planet. And they're wondering...
grown-ups are making.
Yeah, but they're wondering, how is this to the better good of what will be provided to us in the future? How is everyone's looking at an immediate problem, but is anyone actually looking at what's going to happen, what the impact of this will be for our future? And I'm thinking about climate more than anything else, but also peace and harmony. Yes, I mean, we live in very, very scary times, and we want there to be a light switch that we can just switch on and everyone can be peaceful and love each other. Unfortunately, this isn't the world that we live in, and we've got to come to terms with that. But we're all accountable for everything we say and everything we do.
Of course.
And so anything that you can do to promote peace is something that you should do, because that every little thing is going to count. But yes, I mean, we can talk about politics. I'll go on and on and on and on.
Till the cows
probably
come
not the right
home.
forum for it. But everybody has a view. Everybody has a view. But, we just have to hope and pray, inshallah, that things will work themselves out. But, when you look at the natural disasters, for example, what's going on in Australia, my heart absolutely bleeds for the people there, for the wildlife there.
Millions of animals have died, perished in that fire. We are seeing animals that are now near to extinction.
Then you hear news about the winds blowing and spreading the fire even more. That temperatures reaching as high as over 50 degrees. People are in extreme danger there, and everything should be done wherever they are, whatever religion you are, where there's an opportunity to help. It doesn't matter. You don't need to just help your own kind.
Of course,
it's about helping humanity
and animals. Animals are part of our a species that are so important, and heartbreaking to see those images of the bushfire and the fact that the koalas and kangaroos were actually reaching out to humans for help.
Oh, gosh, did you see those images of the kangaroo hugging
Yeah.
each other and human beings? You just think, my goodness, there aren't even humans that have the instinct to do that in some people, but animals, I always think animals have better instincts sometimes.
SubhanAllah.
Prophet, unbelievable.
Prophet, peace be upon him, was loved animals, loved cats. It's part. Caring for animals is so important as Muslims as well. And,
I know. But I think, as people as well, how do we build up this tolerance? And I think, if you can possibly do this, one way of building up tolerance is to travel more. When you travel and you meet different cultures. So you're not just traveling to Muslim countries. It's nice to travel to Muslim countries. But when you travel further afield and you meet different kinds of people, you see a very similar love. And you start embracing that as well. And if you can travel, that is something that you must do.
Definitely.
It definitely widens your horizon.
And as part of our faith, one of the key things is seek knowledge. Wherever
Seek
that is,
knowledge,
seek knowledge, and seeking knowledge is going further afield, and you learn so much about yourself, but you learn about the world around you as well. Folks, it's 11:44, Monday 6th of January, and I am Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on the Urban Kube show. Today is the first show of 2020, and I have the absolute pleasure of having the very fantastic Shahnaz Ayub as my guest in the studio on the first show of 2020. It's an absolute pleasure to have Shahnaz in the studio this morning with me. I had the fantastic pleasure of having Hajra Khan earlier on, and Shahnaz with me to the end of the show. Now, today's show is all about being the better you, and getting some tips and advice from Shahnaz and how she is looking towards the future, and also reflecting on some of some things from 2019 as well. So I'm rolling the conversation over to Shahnaz. Shahnaz, is there anything in 2019 that kind of stood out for you, maybe? Any projects or...
one thing there are two things. The first thing was that what I really enjoyed doing was filming my second series of For the Love of Food, which was absolutely brilliant, and it's still rolling and we're still filming, and I really, really enjoy doing that because it does take me away from it's like almost like a princess job, it takes me away from the very serious side of the law that I do, and you know, it can be it can be quite disturbing when I think about, you know, the cases that I've got to deal with because they're linked with child protection. And so this is my way of doing something that I'm passionate about. But as you know, and you've mentioned already, Shemiza, the other thing that I'm very passionate about is women connecting women. And we've got some lovely people that obviously you've been involved with as well, that have taken part in your project. I'm now turning it over to you. Your project, the Mother Monologue. Now, you talk a lot about inspirational women, but can I just say to you, this is a mutual admiration interview, but I will say to you, Shemiza, that you are probably the most inspirational person I know, because you...
I feel like switching the mic off because I find this quite...
No, you have to listen. And this is for the people that are listening. This girl doesn't say enough about herself, but I will say that this woman is... a mother of 6. The camera's not on her. It should be on her. She is incredible. She looks amazing. She has evolved. You've evolved into, and I've known you for years, and you've, you know, faced a lot of hardship, both career-wise and everything else. You know, bringing up 6 kids is not an easy thing to do, but you have, and I've met your kids, and they are the most amazing children because they are a chip off the old block. They are like you. They've taken on a lot of your wisdom and manners and, you know, way of life, thinking of life. But you have broken all boundaries by doing this project that you're doing. Do you want to talk about that, Shemiza? Okay, so it's called Mother Monologues. Yes. The reason why I'm mentioning it is because also it's linked to Women Connecting Women, because you've involved a few of the women from Women Connecting Women who have taken part, and you've taken it to a new level. Do you want to tell me what you're doing? You need to tell me what you're doing in this.
Okay, thank you so very much for that beautiful, those beautiful comments. And if folk that know me, I find it very hard to kind of hear about myself.
Touche.
But it is for me. This project embodies a lot of the strength and the wisdom of the women of our town. Women of all generations, women of all cultures and all backgrounds. So the Mother Monologues is a celebration of the journey of motherhood through times of austerity. Now, austerity is a word that more people have become familiar with because of obviously the run up to the elections, and austerity is something that many people have been impacted by, and the hardship of trying to budget your finances and also trying to run a household when benefits have been cut or the increase in bills, so forth. And so this project was really about those stories of survival, stories of sisterhood, stories of women who are trying to balance their household income and their families and their jobs and just sharing their story, the other side of the story that not many people are aware of. So it was very real, it was very raw, and it was actually a very exciting but humbling experience to allow women who've never had the opportunity to kind of express themselves in such a vulnerable space publicly, to tell their story, how it really is, to share their words that is true to the core of them. And and it's been phenomenal.
The surge of response that you've had has been phenomenal. And that's partly by the way, first of all, the subject, which has touched so many hearts, but also the way that you have presented it, because it's not easy getting women out of their comfort zone to talk about something that they're passionate about when they're not used to speaking. But you introduced this, first of all, at Women Connecting Women, and then,
Thank you for
as
that.
one of the, no, but also the fact that the response you've got from that, and also when you were at Luton Library as well, and you got a phenomenal response from people there who wanted to be part of this. So congratulations to you for actually making this comfortable for people to talk about because they felt passionate about it. And you find that in people, that when people find their passion they find their words as well. They find their mouth, they find their voice. And that is what you've managed to do with women that would otherwise have not have had the courage to do this. So you've empowered them. But also, as you said, it's a very humbling experience. And it's something that's been recognised by the BBC as well. That can't go unnoticed. That, you know, this is a project of yours. This is your brainchild, or the brainchild behind this. But what you've managed to do is bring it to another level, and hopefully it'll go further. So what do we have to look forward to?
Okay, so BBC Three Counties did a special. It was a mother monologue special where the mothers that participated, like there was a group of mums from the wider number of mothers came on, performed their pieces for the first time on such a public platform, and then they were interviewed by me, and that was tremendous. And this show, the Mother Monologues special, is still available to listen to, so do kind of go on to the link and do listen in. People do support the show, support these mothers, and this, so that happened. And for me, it was the mums coming back to me and saying, gosh, I really enjoyed that. Wow, the response was amazing. It was having to hear it from them.
Yeah.
It wasn't about me. It was like, what did you ladies think? Because you've trusted me to do this. Was this what you expected? Were you okay with that? Because it's a trust. It's about trust. And I'm responsible for these women, as in, because they're part of my project. And if they're, and so that was quite a big burden on my shoulders.
But you empower that trust in people, Shemiza. And this is the thing. I mean, when people first come into the studio that haven't been on radio before, I've been witness to them absolutely quivering in fear and anxiety. But the moment you start speaking, it doesn't seem like it's a radio show. It seems like it's a conversation around a table. And you make that happen because you make people feel at ease. So that trust is because of the person that you are. But what other projects have you got in the making?
The Mother Monologues was a bit of a taster to what to expect at the actual showcase, which is happening March the 6th, on Friday, March the 6th, at the Hat Factory for International Women's Day, where the mums will be actually performing their pieces live on stage, and it's called Life Happens, Coffee Helps. And so this is a coffee, this is actually set up as like a coffee shop, because the women are coming together, sharing their pieces in a coffee shop setting on the stage at the Hat Factory, and we're actually inviting the audience to come and sit with us and have some coffee as well. And so it's going to be quite exciting. So Shahnaz, we've got your seat ready for you to come and sit down. So it's really
serving the coffee.
You're serving the coffee
with some pakora.
Of course. Oh gosh, you've got to get the special Shahnaz pakora there. So it's a verbatim piece. It's quite experimental.
Can people still join in if they want to be a part of this?
We would like people to join in as our guests on the day. So you need to go onto the Hat Factory, get your tickets. The tickets will be on sale very, very shortly, and come down, come and support us, come and support these mothers. Because what we're also inviting people to do is, because it is about austerity, it is about kind of addressing the issues of poverty here. I'm going to be inviting people to kind of come and bring some food so we can donate to the food bank, bring some uniforms, use uniforms so we can donate to the uniform swap shop.
Brilliant.
So it's kind of touching all those areas that are so universal to how mothers lead their day-to-day lives. So it's also kind of supporting those charities that are doing so tremendously well across the town to ease the burden as well. So the Hat Factory guys did go onto the website there to kind of grab a ticket. Inshallah. There's also going to be the revealing of a mural. This is really quite exciting. I'm super duper excited about this.
Just a little bit excited then.
Just a little bit. It is the revealing of an art mural which has been created by one of the mothers called Amy Ricks, who is the founder of the Little Red Creative Studios. She's created this piece with me step by step. It's going to be revealed outside on the power plant outside St Mary's Church.
Is that going to be a permanent
fixture? There with the mothers and their pieces involved. It's super exciting. So if you've seen Amy's work, you've got do check out. This is next week.
That's really impressive.
So theatre, radio, art. These mums are totally owning it.
And what is your plan then for the rest of the year? Very quickly,
give. It's about giving. It's about kindness. It's about radiating that, giving
But
spaces
it's also
to people.
about, are you going to be expanding your career?
Theatre-wise.
So watch this space,
Watch this
definitely.
space. Art for Social Action, that's where I'm at.
I've really enjoyed interviewing you today, Shemiza. It's been a real pleasure having you on my show.
This is a one-off. This never happens with me. If you know what I'm like, I'm very quite shy and quite reserved about talking myself because I just think, I don't want to. But thank you, Shahnaz.
Oh, you
for
know
plugging
what?
me.
I needed you to say something about yourself because you are absolutely wonderful
thank you.
and too humble sometimes.
Oh dear,
Nothing wrong
it's
with
not
that.
my show, it's everybody else. Darling, thank you so very much for joining me.
You're
The
more than
repeat is 8
welcome.
p.m, guys. Do check it out. Do check us on Facebook and keep supporting the Urban Kube. The wars and love with you always. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We stream our daily broadcast on inspirefm.org. You'll find all our daily updates on our social media at Inspire FM Luton.